like to call to order the Town of Delafield Board of Supervisors meeting for Tuesday, March 11th. Please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible. You would call the roll, please.
Supervisor Mahoney Ogden is absent. Supervisor Miller.
Present.
Supervisor Wolfley.
Present.
Supervisor Berkowitz.
Present.
Chairman Kranek.
Present.
Thank you.
Next item, citizens' comments. Public comments from citizens regarding items not on the agenda. The board may not engage in discussion with citizens making the comments. Individual presentations are limited to 3 minutes, and citizens shall follow the rules set forth in section 2.04, paren 1, paren D of the town code. Seeing no citizens' comments, I will go to item 5, approval of the February 25th, 2025 town board minutes. I have one correction in the closed session. It's A, not yay, and then I'd look for a motion to approve with that correction.
Motion to approve minutes from February 25 town board minutes pending the correction.
A second.
Motion second to approve the minutes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion passes 4-0. Next item would be actions on vouchers submitted for payments. Look for a motion on accounts payable and payroll. I'll make the motion to approve the checks for accounts payable, checks number 68481 through 68505, in the amount of $133,441.19. And for payroll dated March 14th, in the amount of $16,684.64.
Second.
Motion is second to approve accounts payable and payroll. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion passes 4-0. Next item, communications. We have the Honorable Judge Kay here to give us a presentation by the Lake Country Municipal Court. If you'll please come to the podium.
Supervisors. Tim Kay, I represent the judge for the Lake Country Municipal Court. Thanks for letting me come once a year, every other year. I'd like to just give you a little brief update as to our State of the Union. By all accounts, things are going fine in our court. I put together an annual letter, highlights some of the major things that have happened and not happened. First thing I'd like to point out is that this year we had the city of Delafield, next to you, join our court. They are our 21st member, and many years ago when they kind of designed Lake Country Municipal Court, if you kind of look at a map, all the smaller towns and villages and cities kind of band together, and there's one spot that was left, and that was the city of Delafield, and so they finally have joined. Part of that was all because of their prior judge, who had been their municipal judge for a long time, Judge Hausman. He passed away, and so when he passed away, they moved very quickly to join our court, and they probably would have joined a lot sooner, but Mike was a great guy, and he just basically said, I'm going to keep on going as long as I can, and they respected his decision and let him go. He was a mentor to me. He was a little bit older, obviously, but when I first started being a judge, I had lots of questions about how to do things, how to handle juvenile cases, how do you handle, there's a lot of weird different things that happen in Muni Court. And so I would ask him and get his help and his assistance. So we thought a lot alike on many of the cases and how to approach them, and mostly kids. You get the tickets, you kind of hold it open, have them come back in 30, 60 days, see if they're getting better, and if they are, then you have to lower the fine a little bit, and if they're not, the parents know what the fine is. So, that's all I got. Try to give them an incentive to try to learn to be better. But with that being said, and you also heard about the village of Lac La Belle. So town of Oconomowoc merged into Lac La Belle. So now it's like one big municipality. So we gained the city, went to 21, and we lost one because 2 combined, so we're back to 20. So our number of tickets have not gone down. We still do about 15,000 tickets a year. The next item I put on my report is our budget, which is about a little bit over $2 million in fines that we collected. Of that, $381,000, the court retains for our operating expenses. So the fines that we collect, there's $27 we get to keep for each fine. That pays for all of our stuff. It pays for me, the clerks, the computers, the rent. We got to pay the city rent. I don't really like it too much, but we got to do that. All the expenses. And it's very unique because there's about 250 municipal courts throughout the state. Most of the smaller courts don't get enough fine revenue from their tickets. The bond schedule that we all live by, our Supremes who run the bond schedule, haven't raised the price of a ticket since 1980. So a speeding ticket, in 1981 was 124 bucks. 2025, it's still 124 bucks. So that has not kept up with the pace of inflation or anything like that. So a lot of municipalities at year end, they go back to their governing board and they say, yeah, we collected whatever, 10, 20,000 bucks. We're still short. We got to pay the judge and the clerk. So we need you guys to pitch in another 20 grand or whatever it is. And that's how it usually happens. But our court, we're very, very efficient. We do not do that. We do not go back and ask the taxpayers or you to help supplement our court. In the very, very beginning, when they formed the court, yes, they did, but they needed to get, a couple of 8, 9 years of money coming in to get things going. And then at by the 16th year or so, most of the money had been refunded back to the municipalities. So the town paid in $4,000 to get it going. Eventually, you got to pay it back. The very last sheet is my chart, and it shows you what happens with a typical fine. I like this chart because everybody always asks me about, how does the money get split up? So on a typical ticket that your officers write, intermediate speeding, typical ticket, 11 through 19, 40% of that fine goes back to your municipality. So you almost get 50%, but 40 is the best that there is. The state, Wisconsin, they get 25%. Governor Evers, he's sitting on a big boatload of money. I don't know what he's doing with it, but he gets 25%. He doesn't give it back. 8% goes to our Waukesha County Jail, so Sheriff Severson can lock up the bad guys and our OAR offenders and OWI offenders, and 27% goes to us. So that's kind of how it works. So every year since I've been judge, we've always broke even. I think one year we were maybe a little bit in the black, or red, but that was a weird year. But we have a surplus fund that we put our excess money into to save for a rainy day. There's been some talks about maybe trying to refund some of the money back to the towns and villages. And, then I point out, well, what happens if we get another COVID? So for like those COVID months, even though we were very efficient, I was the first municipal court to get back going, get the fines going. And so we missed like maybe 2 months, but we started doing telephone appearances, Zoom appearances. So the whole idea with the muni court is you got to keep the tickets going. If you don't, they backlog, they extend out, you don't get revenue money in. So, but, it could be another COVID, it could be a worser COVID or some other weird disease that we haven't even thought of yet. So I would like to prefer to keep some of those funds safeguarded in case we're really out of business for 6-7 months so we can pay all of our expenses. But we'll see what the operations committee recommends. So then I told you how the court retains $381, the state gets $500,000, and that's just kind of how it goes. Our bailiffs are fantastic. We had one of our CFOs, Chief Schuyler, who was a village Summit officer and then village chief of Summit for 25 years. He retired and then started working for the city part-time. He became our bailiff. He checked everybody in at the window. And we had one sheriff's deputy that would help, patrol, keep an eye out on court operations. And you really need two. You need one to be checking in the defendants. You go to this pretrial line, you go to the initial appearance line, you go here, you go there. You need a guy for that. And then you need these guys to be sure that everything is A-okay. And there's some times where the people get unruly and they'll start raising their voices at me, and I just look at them, and they kind of look at them, and once in a while, I'll remind the defendants, I'll say, well, tell you what, why don't you take a look behind you, what do you see? And there's the guys in brown shirts, and if I put my hand up, that means quit talking, and these guys know, well, this guy keeps on talking, they put their rubber gloves on, that means they're gonna get arrested. I said, they're putting their gloves on, why do you think they're doing that? I'm going to jail. You wanna be nice? Okay, they kinda calm down, so it's a lot of, calming people down the right way, you know, so. Now, Chief Schuyler retired, so now we have two deputies that assist us, and that's Deputy Corey Farrell, Lieutenant Farrell, Captain Michelle Loeffler fills in, Detective Tim Wacker, Deputy Casey, and I think Casey got promoted to detective, right? These guys know. It's hard to keep track of who's who. And Deputy Bob Krieger, he's a younger guy, and so they fill in. Our court staff has done very well. We have 2 full-time clerks, 2 part-time clerks. One of the part-time clerks retired, and we just replaced her with a new woman by the name of Jade. Her first Friday was last Friday. I can't remember her last name, but she seems like she fits in just well. So, but Fridays are our big day. We have the 2 full-timers, 2 part-timers, and then during the week there's always the 2 full-timers and 1 part-timer that kind of helps out. The way the office works is you need 2 people back there all the time, because you never know when one gal's at the window, somebody else comes up to the 3rd window, so you always have to have 2 people. A big shout out to Chief Weimer. He's our operations administrator. He does our budget. He's been doing it for a long, long time. And also to Captain Lisa Panis. She is our operations chair. We meet once a month, go over bills, copy machine, little issues, how to fix stuff, and keep everything running smoothly and efficiently, so there really are no big issues. So, yeah, I enjoy being your judge. I tell you all the time. It's a lot of work, but it's very rewarding. This year, we got some stats out, and to tell you a little bit more about our court is the largest joint municipal court in the state. And if you compare our court to all of the other 250 municipal courts, as far as volume in tickets and volume in revenue, we are 4th in the state, only behind Milwaukee, Dane County, and Mid-Moraine, which is like the Germantown area. They're actually bigger than us, but we're 4th, meaning we are larger than Kenosha, Racine, La Crosse, Eau Claire, blow them all away. So we're a lot of tickets. We got 15,000 tickets a year that come through our court, and things run smoothly. I've not had any reprimands filed on me, so I must be doing something. In the legal world, if you want to file a complaint against a lawyer, it's really super easy. So that's a good thing. And I always try to make this comment that many times in our trials, you know, we get some of the pro se guys. They're the ones. The lawyers, they know how to plead out the case, but the pro sayers, they want to get that cop up. They want to ask that cop, did you really see me speeding, officer? Yeah. Oh, are you sure it was me? Yeah. All right, I got no more questions. So I got a lot of guys, they walk out, and they're shaking hands with the cops as they're walking out. They go across the street and have lunch at George Webb's. So it's just kind of a way for people, they want to have their day in court. They want to say their spiel, and we give it to them, and in the end, it all kind of works out. So, any other questions?
What's your philosophy on reducing tickets and reducing the fines? Just curious how you come about that and why you would do that.
Good question. Years of experience, and I give this in my opening speech. I have a little opening monologue for about 11, 12 minutes. And I kind of explain all this stuff. But usually, if you're, 2 big factors for reductions in the citations. And the reductions usually come from the prosecutors, but we work together. So I'm more like the referee. I don't say, sir, I'm going to lower your points from 6, you're at 22 over. I'm not going to lower your points from 6 to 9. It's usually the prosecutor. So the prosecutor will say, Judge, we offer to amend our town on Delafield ticket I think Kimberly Kershak is the attorney, right?
Yep.
And so two factors. First factor is whether they have they're cooperative with the deputies or the officers. I tell everybody in court, cooperation is a huge factor with me. Are they standing on the side of the road, kind of doing like this, or yeah, or are they swearing at the cops? And I always make the comment that the polices, like to use that word sometimes, they go back to their computer and they're typing in there, and to graduate from the academy, they all had English 101, but most importantly, composition 202. And they're using all 10 fingers. Type up a little chapter of their traffic stop, chapter 2. There you go. Your fourth traffic stop, chapter 4. So the prosecutors will usually tell me, Judge, this person was cooperative, or Judge, this guy was very uncooperative. So that's a big factor. Second big factor is whether they have a good record. Now, I always say in court, everybody's got something from back in the day, some Green Bay game you're driving home on I-45, or the one fraternity party you were at, the cops are running the back door and you're out the front door. There's always something, but one or two things they say, that's pretty good. 8 or 9 things, not so good. So based upon your pretty good record, everybody's got something. Based upon your cooperation with the policeman, most of the time for a 6-pointer, they get amended down to 1 through 10, a 3-pointer. So 6 down to a 3. A 4-pointer, many times reduced to a 3-pointer, sometimes to a 2-pointer in proper traffic or obstructing traffic. We don't amend very often down to 0 points. So that's a normal range. We have a lot of tickets for operating after suspension, a lot. And I am really, really tough on OAS tickets, repeat offenders. I make it my mission. We have so many people that drive around without a license. So at the end of the calendar, I call every single OAS case, operating after suspension. I call them, ask the prosecutors, how many repeat offenses? 1 time, Judge, or 2nd time? And after they get to 3, then I sign a warrant for their arrest. So my personal philosophy is, if you're driving around and you didn't pay a ticket and your license got suspended, okay, you got caught up in the system. Then you got to go take care of it. And if you really are kind of slow or not so smart, you get a second one. Well, after the second one, you should figure it out. We're all adults, right? So after the thirds, I do writs of commitment. These guys love them. They're warrants. And we have, I can't tell you how many we have for repeat offenders 18, 19, 20 times. They just keep on driving. They're bad guys. They don't have a license. They don't care. Most judges, if you don't pay a fine, they suspend your license. We all think, well, that's pretty bad, right? But they just keep on driving while suspended. It's a never-ending circle. So I get them hooked up. They're all tough guys when you guys meet them on the road, right? At 12 o'clock at night, they kind of stand like this, like they're going to show the cops who's boss. And these guys got the handcuffs. They always win. And these tough guys, they get a backseat of squads, and they usually turn into 7th grade, 8th grade boys. They start crying. They're on their cell phone, calling their mommies and their girlfriends. I'm going to jail, honey. What happened to the $500 I gave you last weekend? I went to the bar. I went to the game. I didn't spend it on my traffic tickets. Well, that's where they go. So usually when they get those warrants, then I also increase the fines from whatever they are to our maximum for OAS is $313. So a typical OAS ticket from your officers here might be $124 for a first or second, and they have discretion. Sometimes if the guy's a real bozo, they kind of up it a little bit, which is fine with me. It's always easier to bring them down than it is to raise them up. But if they don't show up in court and they're a serious repeat offender, I increase the fine to $313. They're not going to pay it because they're bad guys. They go to jail. And if they don't post, bail out, it's $50 a day. So they could sit there for 6 days. Most guys, once they get there for one night, they borrow the money and they get out. But then hopefully they go get a license and get their insurance, and that makes the world a better place. So,
But if you want to crack down on the insurance tickets, that's fine too.
yes, with insurance tickets, usually we have a lot of the no insurance cards. So they're supposed to have proof of their insurance, And sometimes they have insurance, but they just don't have the proof to give to the officer. So they come to court and they show us that they really had proof that day. We are required by statute to dismiss them. But it's fine. And there's some guys that did not have insurance. They come to court. Now they do get insurance, like after the fact. So then I'll lower the fine just to give them some incentive. And I tell them, I'd rather that you spend your money paying your insurance premiums than paying us fine money, because the whole idea is for you to have insurance in case there's an accident. That's better for everybody. But, yeah, so we're pretty good on. Another huge thing I probably did not mention here, I mentioned in the past, about 3 years ago, we joined SDC, State Department of Collections. And they are literally a division of the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. I mean, they are so powerful. They are the government. That's Governor Evers' thing, you know. When you pay your taxes, it goes to those guys. And they can go, if you don't pay, we sign up for it. And if people don't pay their fines, they can intercept your checking account, your savings, your wages, your tax refunds. And because they are the government, they can go across state lines and get truckers. We used to get a lot of overweights and for trucks, right? And then if they're registered in Missouri, you know, what are you going to do? You're not going to go to Missouri to chase them down. STC can go over the state lines to their companies and intercept those funds. So it's a good thing. We made a lot. Don't tell Captain Panis this yet, but because I want to tell her on Wednesday. But last month, our check from STC was $60,000. It's huge. Now it's tax time. Everyone's filed their taxes, and WDR, they're collecting all the fine money from their tax refunds. So I want to surprise Captain, okay? Because our biggest check before that was $30,000. So there's a lot of things we have at our disposal. You know, I because of SDC, I've cut way back on warrants. You know, before we could either if somebody didn't pay, suspend their license, or do a warrant. And then actually, when I first started, and you get so many warrants, you're reading them not really too good because you got so many. You're signing. Well, then I started noticing it. I started signing warrants for like people who had a fine for not paying a library ticket or something. I go, that's not right. So those we pull back right away, and sometimes they go through and you don't catch them. But because of SDC, they're so efficient, and it's the state doing a lot of work for all the municipalities, I've cut way back on warrants. My policy is if a drunk driver doesn't pay his fines, I still do a warrant. Repeat OAS guys, operating under suspension, and OARs come through our court. They teach these guys in misdemeanor court, don't send your OERs to community court. The jurisdiction is the circuit court. Have them come our way because we're quicker, we're better at them, and nobody complains. We are cheaper and faster than the circuit court. So, so people are repeat offenders on OESs, operating suspension, OERs, operating into revocation, like a more serious thing on your license. Do warrants. We let them sit out there for a year, and then if we don't get the guy, then we'll pull him back or take him out of the system and send him to SDC. But I think that part is good. I think for those more serious situations, I think people do need to go to jail for a short amount of time. I don't like doing it, but it's all pretty good. And they like the warrants.
Keep up the good work. Thank you for coming and
Yeah.
visiting with us today.
And, you know, I know I talk too much, but you got any questions, you can always call me, call my clerks. Oh, I also gave you the fine by municipality, so you can see where you guys ended for the year, and you can see all of the other towns and villages. So I think your guys' revenue was about 11,000 on here. Yeah, 11,432. So that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Helps pay for the overtime, helps pay for a lot of stuff. And if you really think about it, you know, it's the people that get the tickets that are paying the fines that come back to your municipality. So user-paid facility.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thanks for the talk.
Next item, I got Chief Fenning here to give us update on what's going on with LCFR. We got the January 25 rescue report, but if he wants to touch on anything else.
Yeah, sure. Thank you all for having me. Appreciate your time this evening. Yeah, so we send out the monthly report generally within the first couple of weeks of the next month. So we're only reporting for January right now. February's will be out shortly. But for January, there was 32 calls in the town of Delafield, ranging from emergency medical incidents to gas leaks to, of course, the ice rescue incident. Actually, no, I'm sorry, that was in February, so that'll hit next month's report. Standard run-of-the-mill stuff in January for us. I think the number one thing that continues to happen are the brownouts that we continue to work on. The 7 communities are continuing to work with the policy forum and with the partner communities on fixing some of those funding formula issues. So we're hopeful that with that, and we get into 2026, that will start to dive off. But that's kind of where it's sitting right now. The thing that we did change going into 2025 was that we are alternating closing this station and closing the city station. So we're doing 1 month here, 1 month in the city. When we close the city station, we leave our far northern edge, the Conwalk Lake, Shaniquas, and things like that, very vulnerable. It is a tough thing that we do that. We don't like to do that at all, but when we only have the limited people we have, it's kind of our hand is forced in it. So with that, I guess a pause. Any questions for me? Anything fleeting out there that anyone would like to know or would like to hear about?
Do you got any questions for Chief Fenning?
Great.
Keep up the good work. Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it. We are working on our annual report, which will be for 2024. If there's things that you'd like to see there, if there's data points that you would like to see, let me know. I can try to make it happen. I can say that we've been talking about our new reporting software, and we're starting to see the fruits of those labors, and it is powerful stuff. So the sky isn't the limit, but if there's something out there, a data point that you would like to see, let me know, and I can see if we can get it mined for you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item is the 2025 Town of Delafield Sheriff's Report. It's in the packet. I don't know if the Sheriff's Department has anything they want to add to it or not. They're welcome to come and talk. If not, it's in the packet for our review of what they did in February. And then the next item would be from the Administrator Clerk, 2025 Election Recap Memo.
Unless anybody has any questions, I don't have anything to add to that.
I just want to thank all of our election chiefs and poll workers and everybody, because without them, we'd have a really tough time doing elections, and elections matter, and they're a very important thing that we do in the town. So thank you, everybody that volunteers and helps with the elections.
We do need more volunteers for April if anybody's interested.
Can we volunteer?
Not if you're on the ballot,
These are on the ballot.
which you're not, but
But
yeah.
I'm not,
Right.
so I can.
You could.
All right, I'll contact you and ask if I can help.
There is no unfinished business. Next item, new business, consideration of appointment of citizen members to the Board of Review, with regular members serving a 5-year term and alternates serving a 2-year staggered term. So there are 2 people I'd like to nominate as alternates to the Board of Review. One of the gentlemen is here this evening. His name is Wade Irving. He's in the audience. Irvine, sorry. And the other one is Marilyn Krause. I'd like to appoint them as alternates to the Board of Review. It's going to be especially important this year, as we all know we're going through the reval. So I'd look for a motion to approve both those.
Wade, Irvine, and then what was the?
Marilyn Krause.
Marilyn Crowley. I'd like to make a motion to approve Chairman Kranick's appointments of Wade Irvine and Marilyn Krause to the Board of Review as alternates.
I second.
Motion is second to appoint those members as alternates to the Board of Review. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes 4-0.
I'll be sending out information to all the Board of Review members within the next week regarding training and oaths and so forth. So look for that in your email. Thank you.
Next item is consideration possible action on a request from Ronald Dries, W289 and 3132 West Lakeside Drive, for approval of a certified survey map to combine two existing lots of record into one lot as recommended by the Plan Commission 6-0 at our meeting last week. It's pretty straightforward to what happens with these CSMs around the lake. They were two separate lots, and they have a line going through them. We're just removing that line to make it one legal, non-conforming lot. So I'd look for a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the combination of the certified survey map for Ronald Dries at W289 and 3132 West Lakeside Drive.
A second.
Second it.
It's yours.
Thank you.
And then this would be contingent on any comments from the county too, I believe.
Sure. Contingent on any, yeah.
Before we record it. So motion is second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed. Motion passes 4-0. Next item, the same thing, consideration possible action on a request from Michelle B. Fitzgerald at W297 and 2007 Glen Cove Road for an approval of a certified survey map to combine two existing lots of record into one lot as recommended by the Plan Commission 6-0 at our Plan Commission meeting last week.
Motion to approve Michelle B. Fitzgerald's request to combine the CSM from two existing lots to one, as recommended by the Plan Commission, for address W297 and 2007 Glen Cove Road, pending any comments or adjustments from the county.
A second.
Motion is second to approve. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed. Motion passes 4-0. Next item, item D, is consideration of a Franciscan Road Highway Department turnaround easement agreement. This has been kind of in the works for a while. There's not a really good place on Franciscan for the Highway Department to turn around. So they've worked with the lot owners of Woodridge Estates to get an easement so they can have a turnaround there. So they're not having to turn around on the private part of Franciscan. So I'd look for approval of that turnaround agreement.
Assuming, obviously, since nobody here is from Woodridge Estates, to
They've already signed it, so.
motion to approve a highway department turnaround easement agreement for Franciscan Road.
I'll second it.
Motion is second to approve the easement for the turnaround. All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed, motion passes 4-0. Next item, there is no town board meeting on March 25th because of in-person voting and lack of a quorum. The next town board meeting will be on Tuesday, April 8th. There is an election on April 1st, and the Plan Commission will be on May 6th because of that election on April 1st. So I look for a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
A second.
Motion is second to adjourn. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Good.
Betting 100%.
Thank you.